Hello, everyone. This is Talk by Tech. We're talking Star Wars, and let's hit it. So, as everyone that pays attention to Star Wars is fully aware, they've released three new movies, two of which I believe are going to be great movies. One, I got a bad feeling about, and we'll go over why in a sec. So, here's the actual announcement itself. This is pulling from Screen Rants. The first movie they announced, and this is the one I got a bad feeling about, the new Jedi Order. Let's be blunt here. The last movie, episode 9, had less than half the ticket sales from episode 7. That was absolutely horrible. This is not a fan favorite. This is not something the fans wanted. This is not something Star Wars fans wanted. I don't know where they came up with this, but here we are, and this is what they did. That being said, the movie is going to be 15 years after Episode 9 with Rey's new Jedi Order. The idea is going to be that she is going to have this great grand Jedi Order. It's not a question of the actress being wanted back or not. Daisy Ridley did a good job with the garbage script she was given. The problem is, this is a Kennedy project through and through. If you actually take the time and look up this director, you'll see she falls right in line with that Kennedy mindset of, we don't care about Star Wars, we just want our social justice push. And that's going to create a problem in ticket sales. I feel like this is going to be the movie that's just going to be the bottom of the three, unfortunately. And like I said, Daisy Ridley deserves a lot better than this. She was a good actress. She did her best with the garbage they gave her, and this is not going to help overall. This is just going to be poor, sadly enough. Now, let's go to the movie I feel like is going to be the best of the three, and that's going to be the Mandalorian movie. This is going to be a really interesting movie. One, it's going to be Dave Filoni's first shot in the big chair, solo, for a big screen event. The guy deserves it after his work on Star Wars, the Clone Wars animated series, and then Rebels. He showed he can put together solid, good, long story Star Wars-like stories. You got engulfed with the characters. You enjoyed them. You felt good about them. And, you could say Clone Wars had a lot of big-name characters, but Rebels was a whole different story, and that felt like a Star Wars story. And now with the Ahsoka series coming out, and the live-action Ahsoka series, more importantly, as we know it, all the characters from Rebels are coming back in live action, which is going to make it even better. And everything is going to tie in. Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, The Mandalorian is all going to tie into a big finale versus, of course, the big bad Grand Admiral Thrawn, the one from Legends that has been brought back, just like most things in Star Wars. Filoni did the smart thing. He went with what the fans loved and knew. He brought Thrawn back. He did it in the Rebels series, and now Thrawn is back. And this is going to be the big bad enemy as we know it right now in the Mandalorian movie. Personally, I'm looking forward to this. I think this is going to be the one that is really going to show what Star Wars can be and what it should be if you remove politics and all the other crap and just get down to a good, solid Star Wars story. This, of course, is set in what a lot of people are referring to as the Mandoverse. And it's going to be a very interesting movie because, as I said, this is going to be Dave Filoni's first shot in the big chair on the big screen. But I don't think he's going to have an issue with this. I think it's just going to be more of solid work that he's overall done. Between Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, the way they've run the Mandalorian series, I don't see very many issues with it. The most recent episode was not ideal. Too much star power, if you want to call it that, for Star Wars. And just the problem with Star Wars is you don't bring big name characters in because then people look at the name characters. You lose immersion in the universe. And I feel like that's really what happened with the last episode of The Mandalorian, unfortunately. Great stories were being told. I love how The Mandalorian isn't just about Din Djarin. It focuses on other Mandalorians. It's the Mandalorian, not the Mandalorian. And I love how they spread everything around in this Mandoverse to so many other characters and people. You become engulfed in all these stories and you're so interested in all of their lives. That's part of what makes Star Wars great. That is great Star Wars storytelling. So this, I feel, is going to be the biggest and best movie of the three. Now, the movie I'm actually really interested in, even though there's not a lot about it, is going to be Dawn of the Jedi. So we're going 25,000 years ago. 25,000 years into the galactic past. And at 25,000 years in the galactic past, because you know these guys are pulling from legends, you've got the Rakatan Infinite Empire. And these guys were basically the big bad emperor of their day, except they were basically all dark and twisted dark side wielders. Their species, the Rakatan, was just obsessed with domination and the dark side. And they did some crazy things. One of the big things they did in their time period was, of course, build one of the most feared super weapons in all of Star Wars. And that would be the Starforge, a literally starship droid weapon manufacturer. This thing would float up over a star, absorb the material, and just pump out warships, weapons, equipment, all kinds of things. It was insane. But that being said, we're going 25,000 years. This story is going to be based on the Dawn of the Jedi. That is Jedi, not Jedi, which the Jedi existed before the Jedi did. The Jedi were balanced. They lived on Typhon. They were kind of balanced between light and dark. If you became too much in the light, you went to a moon of darkness until you returned to balance. If you went too much into darkness, you went to a moon of light again until you returned to balance. Now, this is going to be the first Jedi, and this, of course, goes back to the first schism and separation when Jedi finally separated and became light and dark. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to say this is Sith or not, but it will be interesting to see where they go. But the story itself is going to be based around that very first Jedi themselves. So this is going to be rather interesting. No idea who the character is going to be. Legends specifically never wrote who the first one was. They simply wrote of the order, the separation, and why it split between light and dark and what actually happened. It's not necessarily that they believe that the darkness was evil. It's just they no longer had the ability to really keep the balance in themselves because of how their teaching changed over time. You have to remember, if you go into Legends, the recorded Star Wars universe goes back about 100,000 years. So there's still a lot to tell. But 25,000 years ago is the start of the Jedi, and that is, of course, the start of the original Republic. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this movie goes, what happens. I really feel like this movie is going to be the solid number 2 of the 3, maybe even number 1. If I had to put my money, though, I would say Mandalorian movie is going to be the tops in the box office, and it's going to be the one that's going to bring more fans back to Star Wars, as well as be the most interesting of the 3. I feel this one, Dawn of the Jedi, will absolutely be a strong second. And I unfortunately feel like the Kennedy Project, being, the original one we talked about, is going to be our number 3. I don't have good feelings about this based on the writer, based on the director. This is not a good direction for Star Wars. It was proven in 7, 8, and 9, and now they're just doubling down on what doesn't work, unfortunately. That being said, though, Mandalorian movie is going to be exceptional. Dawn of the Jedi, I have really high expectations for this. I mean, I don't want to say expectations. I have really high hopes for this because it's an interesting time and it's going to be an interesting movie overall. That being said, let me know your thoughts and comments, and we'll take it from there. This has been Talk by Tech. Later.